What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Pitts, Bowie TV, coming to you live from the basement. You already know what it is. Another live show, another HBCU edition. I got today's an actual fun, special day for me, right? Because first, we're talking to Taylor Fulton. Taylor is not only the student athletic academic success director, right? But she's also the assistant women's basketball coach. But Taylor and I are actually related. What's up, cousin?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. It's good to see you.
I know you too. It's wild that it's been a minute, and we've really been trying to get this off for I don't know how long. But here we are. We're already here. Now we get to have fun with it. We get to show like, yo, our family too talented. We stick with it in the sports.
Seriously though, seriously. Quiet as kept. Quiet as kept.
Yeah, we sick with it. We got some ballers in our family. So listen, first thing I want to do an icebreaker with you, right? So, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food. Okay, so you know I'm vegan, right?
Right, I know that was so.
Look.
Yeah, I forgot. You know, you
No,
don't
but I
really
love
get.
food. I love food. I love like anything fresh. I would say right now it's probably like oyster, mushroom kind of either patties or just turn them into like some
Mm.
fried wings.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Okay.
I still eat.
Um,
I love to eat.
you say I still eat.
Mhm.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
Oh, someone just asked me this, and I said I didn't have one, and then I went back and thought about it. It's probably red. It's probably
Okay,
red. Mm-hmm.
that's my favorite color, red and black. Yeah,
Of course,
Sasha.
of course. Me
And
too.
lastly, what is your favorite, if you have one, what is your favorite football team? And if so, do you have a favorite football player?
Oh, so absolutely have a favorite football team. It's Pittsburgh Steelers. No way around it. No way
All
around
day
it.
long.
Um, Favorite football player. I love Justin Fields, and I love that we picked him up recently. I'm super excited about it. I'm curious at how it's all going to play out. Um,
Yeah,
but I'm really hopeful that he gets to just live up to his fullest potential. I think it's all
yeah,
there. He just needs the proper grooming and really just the freedom to do him. So I think
right,
what better system than with Pittsburgh Steelers to really come into yourself. So
right.
excited to see that.
And the wild thing, and not to really delve too much into it, if you think about both quarterbacks that we picked up, both of them for some reason have a bad, why would they deserve another opportunity chance?
Hmm.
Where Russell Wilson, he arguably his stats was better than Patrick Mahomes last year, right? But
Right.
then you talk about Justin Fields. Justin Fields has had two head coaches and
Who are
two or
defensively
three
minded.
offensive coordinators in 2 or 3 years. So he's never really had that
Mhm.
consistent stability that he needed to groom himself. So yes, like I said, listen, our family is extremely competitive, and when it comes to the sports, it doesn't matter whether it's the women or the men. We can tell you about any sport there is.
Big fans.
So and because you're a ball player, you're a hooper. I'll ask the question directly. Like, so do you have a favorite WNBA team, and do you have a favorite WNBA player?
Um, I love what the Atlanta Dream have done, and I'm not just saying that because I'm now an Atlanta native and whatnot. But what I'll say is what they've been doing over the past few years has been putting all the right pieces together. I love that we brought in another Pittsburgh native and Coach T, Coach Tanisha Wright, who is a West Mifflin grad. She actually,
Okay.
it's
Shout
so
out, shout
funny
out
when
to West Mifflin.
I tell that story. But Coach T, she actually played for Phil Shar, who was my high school girls basketball coach too. So
Okay.
she's the head coach of the Atlanta Dream now. She's doing her thing, and then they just added all the right pieces recently. Tina Charles, Jordan Canada. There's just, I mean, Aerial Powers. I think what they're going to do is going to be special. I think they're going to make a nice run. so long as everybody's healthy. But I think what the game is, what WNBA is doing now in general, like y'all just now catching on, but it's been improving for the past few years, and now it's really the hype is real. Um,
Yeah,
and I think if they can continue to balance the shine, and I won't get into the whole Caitlin Clark talk, but if they can continue to balance the shine and really just educate people on how good these players really are,
yeah,
how many good players there really are, it's
right.
it's every game is competitive.
Yeah, and well, we could take it there, and we could pivot back. But so when we talk about the because I feel that it's been far too overlooked, right? And I
Mhm.
have been criticized because I've said at times that I felt that women's basketball was more entertaining and more competitive than men's basketball, right? Because I feel when it comes to women's basketball, it's literally a team. It's a team game. Like
Mhm.
they're playing for each other. Where when you talk about the men, I think there's too many egos, too many personalities, too many superstar statuses that overtake the game that makes it appear to be is their team and everybody else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I get criticized for that, but I'm gonna continue to stand on it. But when you talk about Caitlin Clark and leveling the field of just what's going on, what are your thoughts in regards to just it all?
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. I think what Caitlin Clark was able to do at Iowa, I mean, that was special. She had the perfect fan base, the perfect situation. It doesn't get any more prime than that in terms of her role and really stepping into it as a playmaker, a scorer, and then really like an entertainer. Let's be real.
Yeah,
She puts on a show. But for the most part, I think her coming to the next level, there's so many people who want to see her shine who don't realize that to take the jump from college to pros and anything is always going to take time. It's
yeah,
rare that players are able to step into the big leagues and be able to have an immediate impact, right? So I think in general, it's exciting. It's exciting times, right? They're selling out arenas, selling out season
yeah,
tickets and whatnot. So I think it's all for the good of the game. It's all for
yeah.
the good of the game.
Who is Taylor Fulton?
Ooh. That's a good question. I'm. That's a good question. You're gonna jump right into that one. Okay.
We're gonna jump right into it.
I am a women's basketball coach. I'm a director of student athlete academic success. I am a sister of six girls, and I have a brother. I have a huge family who supports what I do. But for the most part, I'm just someone who's passionate about using athletics to reach our student athletes to help
Yeah,
really fully develop them into successful members of society. I'm gonna be real. I love my experience. I think that it was unique. It wasn't easy at all. I had to work for everything that I got, and I've had some
yeah,
experiences that, for the most part, can be used for inspiration, used to
yeah,
really help the people that I impact, the young women especially that I impact. Now that I'm working with more than just the women's basketball team, the young people that I'm impacting on a regular, I'm excited about the work that I do. It comes natural. I think that I'm a really real young adult in their life or their lives, I should say, who um, helps them see the world a lot bigger. I hold them accountable in ways that a lot of people might let them slip up. But at the end of the day, it's only to push them and make them better. And I think
absolutely.
any of the student athletes that I really get my hands on and I get to spend time with, and they get that side of me, they know if I'm digging in them, it's all because I see the potential and I'm trying to pull it out of them the same way I've had a handful of people in my life do for me.
And I think we don't want to overlook you, the player, right? We can't overlook. I mean, we definitely going to get to the now, but we can't overlook you, the player at Penn State. Like, come on, like I'm just going to read off a list of a list of accolades, right?
Okay.
So first and foremost, right?
Hmm.
2 seasons at Penn State, Greater Allegheny, scored 1,002 points in 2 seasons, 446 assists, 250 steals, right? You was also the PUSAC Player of the Year in 2013. You was the PUSAC First Team All Conference 2013 and 2014, and the United States Collegiate Athletic Association selected you as a first team All American in both 2013 and 2014. Also racking up Player of the Week 3 times um, during that span. You you have a plethora of accolades as well.
I do. I do. And I think that's why I said what I said in terms of just living it, walking in it. And man, I had a unique experience. I'm not, so my story is so deep. It's so, I don't tell the story in full too often.
Let's talk about it.
But as a player, okay, so for one, I'm a coach's daughter,
Absolutely. Shout out
right?
to cousin Vaughn.
Right. My father is currently still coaching girls
Yeah,
basketball, right?
and they're still doing well.
Yep. So on both the men's the guys side and the women's side, he's coached high school basketball for probably since I've been in diapers. Um, so I grew up young, being able to go on championship runs with him, state title runs with him, ride the bus, sit on the bench, sit behind the bench, be all in the mix. Water girl, handing out towels, all of that. But the irony is, it's my great grandmother who put the ball in my hand, right? Just
Mm,
spending time with my great grandmother, again, just big sports fan. The blood, runs all through my DNA.
yeah.
So my great grandmother put a little basketball in my hand, probably around 3 or 4, and then tagging along with my dad everywhere. It's always been in me.
Yeah.
Um, so I was able to just know the game a lot earlier than I realized what to do with that knowledge. And
Yeah.
then I started playing probably not until the fourth grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, fourth grade. And then, so my mother and my stepfather, they moved us to Atlanta. So
Hmm.
from fourth grade to 10th grade, my upbringing was playing in Greater Atlanta. I played on Southwest DeKalb Lady Eagles. So to be able to come back to Atlanta and be in the same area
That's
and
yeah.
impact
That's
the same
amazing.
kind of, it's full circle, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I went to Stevenson High School, Stevenson Middle School, Stevenson High School. And I grew up where girls basketball, like, it was heavy, it was real. We were good, and we were the pipeline to the high school. So once I got to high school, my freshman year, I made varsity. I played JV, and I was also on varsity. So my freshman year, I believe we had 6 players go Division 1 from Stevenson, right? So I'm kind of just telling you, I was always around it. Um, and then we ended up moving back to Pittsburgh, and that's how I ended up at West Mifflin.
Hmm.
I actually went to Duquesne for a year, so I
Oh,
played.
so
I,
glad you left there.
yeah, so I never attended the school. I went to a charter school, and then I played Duquesne, right?
Okay.
And then I ended up at West Mifflin with Phil Shar, my head coach, and we won a couple section titles, and then we lost in the Whitfield Championships both my junior and
Yeah.
senior year. Should have won, should have had 2 titles. And then from there, so originally I signed to go to App State. So I got a full ride to play at Appalachian State. And after my freshman year, I ended up going home. And that story, like leaving App, was I found out that I had a heart murmur. The elevation was
Right.
kind of impacting it. I didn't actually find out until I got home, though. And with the heart murmur having different, I was passing out during workouts.
Sort of like the LeBron James, his son Bronny James.
What I was
Uh,
kind of, but not to that
Extent.
extent. Not a heart attack, but I wasn't
Right.
getting enough oxygen. So
Right.
from there, I ended up like developing really bad anxiety. I don't think I've ever, we've never had this conversation before, but
No.
yeah, I developed really bad anxiety. So I ended up trying to play. I transferred back home, went to Penn State, and I tried to play, and I just couldn't kick it until it took me probably about a year and a half, which is why I only played two
The
actual
two
seasons.
seasons. Yeah.
Right? So that's why I was dealing with finding out about the heart murmur and then dealing with anxiety and trying to recover from it. Never having anxiety before, that was like the scariest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
Um, so really having gotten to my lowest point in my life, not being able to play ball, right? I
Yeah.
was in school, but I wasn't thriving at all. I wasn't
Right.
thriving at all. So from there, I just ended up at Penn State Great Allegheny taking some classes, and I tell this story this way because it's just ironic of who it is. But I'm on campus one day, and this older white gentleman, bald guy, he's just following me. I'm like, what's up? Like what's going on? He's like, Taylor, is that you? And I turn around, I'm like, yeah, do I know you? He's like, probably not, but I was the head coach at Ringgold High School. No, maybe it wasn't
Oh.
Ringgold. Maybe it wasn't Ringgold, but it was somewhere. It was a high school. He said, yeah, we were the stat game for you. Your team would come in and play us twice a year and beat us by 80 points, and you would never play second half. He's like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What are you doing here on this campus? Do you go here? And so this ended up being Coach Lou. He was the head coach at Penn State Great Allegheny at the time, and just striking up a conversation with me, and he kind of reminded me of who I was. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing here? Why are you not
Yeah.
playing? Right? And he's like, what? Just come to the gym. Come to the gym. So I went to an open gym one night with his team, and man, I fell back in love with the game since that point forward. And the mentor that he has been in my life has been, I mean, transformative in terms of
Yeah.
reminding me of who I am, my potential, and what ball means to me.
Yeah.
He's where I am now. I mean, he's why I am where I am now. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's how I ended up at Penn State Great Allegheny, and they would only give me 2 years back. Um, so I finished up my last two seasons there, just doing the best that I can. I played and I loved it, and I probably, we played NAIA, USCAA. I was a Division I kid who ended up, just fell into his lap, and he saved me in that sense of resurrecting my playing career.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then he ended up pulling me into coaching, but that's a whole nother story.
So, but not only resurrecting, but it was the passion, and
Hmm.
that you have for the game, and knowing that sometimes, a lot of people don't understand, like, the passion when you play the game, it's a different type of passion than a
Hmm.
person who just watches the sport and loves the sport from
Hmm.
just a watching standpoint. So
Hmm.
when you start talking about the intricacies of this sport, a lot of average fans may not really understand, when you start talking in detail why something may not be gelling as quickly as they feel it should be. But if you go back, you talk about, would you say that how did what was the inspiration, or was there an inspiration from you traveling and riding the bus at a young age to play basketball? Do you think that any of that had a little fire in you for you wanting to do that?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Those teams that my dad coached, they were competitive as hell.
Yeah.
Those guys, they loved it. And it's funny because most of them were two-way players, right? They played football and they played
Yeah.
basketball. Um, and being around them and just watching them really just and you got to remember Duquesne has such a unique
It's
history.
rich. It's rich. The sports history in Duquesne is rich. I mean, when I say rich, a lot of for those of you that don't know, Duquesne is Duquesne, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and it just happens to also be where my father and her father grew up together, right? And when you talk about the rich history, not just them, but even in years after them, until the school closed down, Duquesne has always had athletes,
Mhm.
always. Football, basketball. We talk about, Montel Staples, the head coach at Duquesne. I mean, like, we can go on and on when you talk about Duquesne as a whole. It's like you can't mention Duquesne without mentioning them
Mhm.
and the impact that they had in their years, and the Shelby Harrises and the Todd Harrises and all the and the Wendell Browns. Like it's been a lot of great athletes, Elijah Fields. I mean, it's been a lot of great athletes at Duquesne.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely can understand how that may have impacted you as a young girl.
For sure, for sure. It was. I mean, the biggest thing though was the environment, right? Like the whole city supported the sports teams,
Yeah,
especially football and basketball. Everyone traveled, so to be able to be around a team who um, was that good and had that much support and just watch the intricacies of it all, their
yeah,
how they practiced, how they respected my father and Montel and just being able to receive coaching the way that they did, because I mean we gotta be real, you had to coach them differently,
yeah,
um, but to get the best out of that group, to watch it on both ends from in hindsight now, right? Because I'm on the coaching,
yeah. Because now you're on the coaching side.
yeah, right. But as a player, oh, it made me competitive. As shy as I was as a child, as shy as I was
You still a little shy, but
a little bit. I was worse. Oh my goodness, I was bad. But as shy as I was, even as a child, I wasn't losing. Like I was
yeah,
so competitive and I was so serious about my craft. Like I worked hard. I worked hard
yeah.
to figure it out, you know?
So let's talk about transition. And you've had a couple different coaching opportunities, right? You was at
Mhm.
what was it? Wasn't it Georgia,
Middle Georgia State
Middle
University.
Georgia State, right?
Mhm.
You was also at Lincoln at
Lincoln
some point.
University. Yep, in Pennsylvania.
Um, so then when you talk about just full circle coaching, right, and you coming back to the HBCU realm,
Hmm.
this time now you're with the SEAC, right?
Yep.
And coming from before with the CIAA, talk
Uh-huh.
about the coaching experiences when it pertains to HBCUs.
Yeah. So I mean, it's unique, and it's because of the kind of kids that we get, right? So most of our players are talented enough to play Division One.
Yeah,
We so for CIAA and the SIAC, many of our players they're talented enough to play at that level. The difference is usually mentality, work ethic, and IQ.
okay,
Um, and so what we end up having to do is refine that talent, build up that mentality, and teach. We have to teach so much, or you're doing a lot of robotic coaching in terms of like you got to coach every little thing. So to get them to be ball players, I mean, there's so much more that goes into that, because for one, you have, so you have a handful who can play at that level, right? And then you have the other handful who they're at this level, and they're probably they have it, they need some work, they need refine, they need the fundamentals. And so
yeah,
it's the blend of it all, really. It's the blend of it all. And then it's a lot of the off the court things that we deal with to a much larger degree. um, we have to coach them up in life a lot more. They're usually less prepared than the Division One levels, right? And oftentimes in the PWIs, at a HBCU specifically, while they can get a really great holistic experience, especially with our culture, there's so much that you have to pour into to get them to take serious the opportunity at hand. But once you
Mm,
get them to buy in, man, it's special. This
yeah,
I love coaching at the HBCU, especially Division two. I won't lie to you because we have to get it out the mud, and I mean, I'm just a big fan of the underdog story and having to find your way and just
yeah,
get just grind it out and really maximize your full potential.
yeah. Talk about one of the things is, why I started the platform was, to give more of a media exposure for
Hmm.
HBCUs, but more talk about the importance of the expanding media exposure for women in sports in general.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important. And I'll say there's throughout my career, there's been a number of individuals who I felt, they realize the gap and they try to close it with their platform, such as yourself. With the different ventures that they've started and just the media that they're trying to do and light that they're trying to shine on our women is phenomenal and it's so impactful and it's so necessary. And so to be in we're in a unique situation at Clark Atlanta. We're in Atlanta, the Mecca. But on top of that, it's for entertainment, for media. There's so many people who do it or want to be involved in it, and who want to tell our story. And
Yeah,
so I think without shining a light on what we've been doing over the years, I think the NCAA game wouldn't be where it is. I think the
yeah.
WNBA game wouldn't be where it is without those individuals who've taken the time to really invest in telling a story.
Talk about when you talk about the women, and when you talk about Clark Atlanta, and you talk about their story. So
Hmm.
what talk about the importance of Clark Atlanta in the middle of Atlanta, because you're surrounded by Georgia Tech. You're surrounded by some pretty high name SEC, ACC quality schools.
Hmm. So but we're also the only HBCU
Yeah.
who provides both men's and women's sports, right? So we're in the AUC. And if you don't know anything about the AUC, it's basically the, again, I like to use that word, the Mecca, but it's Spelman, Morehouse, Morris
Mm,
Brown, Clark Atlanta, right? And we're all in this area. We share a library. We're all in the same
mm,
vicinity. And we're right across the street from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Atlanta Falcons play. In general, we provide a unique experience where our kids are really in Southwest Atlanta. Um, our campus it's in the middle of the city. It's not closed off. Oftentimes we kind of go back and forth with wishing that it kind of was for safety reasons, etc.
right.
But for the most part, what we provide for our students at Clark Atlanta, specifically for our student athletes, is a prestigious university. Our kids graduate. Our alumni base is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Some of the alumni come out of Clark Atlanta, go on and do phenomenal things, and then they come back. They give back. They stay in touch. And I think that's probably one of the biggest selling points that we have
Yeah.
outside of our location, playing in the SIAC. You get a prestigious degree, especially if you're in like a few of our top ranked majors, such as business is a great one. But then we have there's so much that we can provide. I'll say the biggest thing right now though is just having students who come in and understand the opportunity and want to take advantage. Like I'm a big advocate for balance. That's why I love the Division II experience. Yes, I want to be competitive. I want to win championships. I want to win the region and go on championship, runs, tournament runs. And I love our head coach, Coach Bailey, Tony Bailey. Man, what he pours into our players is it's something special. It's unique, in a sense of like, it doesn't get any realer than him. It does, us as a staff, it doesn't get any realer than who we are. We are our fullest self every day. We are so transparent with our kids. We give them ample opportunities to get it right, and then we tell them what specifically we're asking for, what we're looking for, and then we give them the tools and resources to come into their own, and give them a couple opportunities to figure it out. And those who do, they usually succeed, they excel, and then the ones who don't, it's a learning lesson that you they'll learn from it. Whether they
Yeah.
finish with us or not, they gotta maybe go somewhere else to really get it together. But ultimately, we try to give them gems, life lessons that they can take moving forward in anything that they do.
So before we wrap up, so for any young lady out there who is junior, senior, well, I just say junior because this school year is over, right? Or a senior, but for any young lady who's still looking for a home, who's still looking for a basketball home, who's still looking for a higher education institution, why Clark Atlanta? Why the Panthers?
Because we're probably going to offer you the best well-rounded experience that you'll find by far. Um, like I said, our ability to offer a balanced, well-rounded experience is top notch. Honestly, again, you get a quality education from a prestigious university. You get the AUC experience. You get to rub elbows and mingle with, Morehouse, Spelman, etc. You're in Atlanta, but more
Mhm.
importantly, you're a part of. You get to play under a coaching staff who sees you and values you and is going to get the fullest potential, get you to maximize your potential to the fullest, right? We're going
Yeah.
to pour into you. As long as you pour back into us, it's always going to be a win-win situation. And then we love to have fun. We're going to win and have fun. That's our main thing is, you know, basketball is a tool that you can use to really live a full life and really
Yeah.
experience, see the world, and really learn a lot about yourself and then how to interact with others throughout the world. So we're big on that, the full experience, man. That's our main thing. So once we're able to really get kids to come sit with us, talk to us, they see it. They see it
Yeah.
and they know we're genuine. And that we're gonna get the best out of them. That might mean some hard grind out days, but for the most part, we're gonna put you in the best situation for you.
Taylor Ford, I thank you for taking this time with me. This feels good. It's been a long time coming.
Like, I'm
And
glad
this
we
is
were
the
able
first
to
of
do this.
many.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to finally do this. I appreciate you having me.
And I can't wait. I'm definitely going to make my way up there. Um, come check you out, Clark Atlanta. Try to come and get in a women's game or something like that. Which
For sure. For sure.
so I appreciate you. And again, Clark Atlanta University Panthers, Taylor Fulton, assistant women's basketball coach, director of student athlete success and academic success.
Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for tuning in with Bowie TV. I'm your host Pitts from Pitt Sports Zone. More content, more HBCU content coming forward to you. Like I said, we're going to continue to push it out, but I definitely wanted to, like I said, this one was personal. One, because we're family, and two, we've been working on it for so long.
Mhm.
So, but I thank you very much, Taylor, and I look forward to hearing from you more.
All right. I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Bye.